During the February winter break, the Barnstable County Sheriff's Department put on their Public Safety Explorers program. This program is for students aged 10 to 14 with the goal to connect those kids to local officers and officials who guide them through different fields in public safety.
The Public Safety Explorers program is our attempt at bringing together children in Barnstable County that are interested in one day joining public safety fields. So we put together a panel with lots of partnerships throughout the Barnstable area, fire departments, police departments, Mass State Police, canine handlers and whatnot. And we bring all those resources together to be kind of a resource for kids that are interested in kind of going into those fields. We are able to do this through our excellent partnership with Cape Cod Healthcare.
These explorers learn decision-making and teamwork skills through interactive sessions. From financial literacy with Cape Cod 5's Director of Financial Know-How, Jim Curran, to wellness and CPR training from Sheriff's Office Sergeant Chris Cochran.
The first thing that I say to the students every time is, I'm going to walk through the very basics of personal finance, the same habits that I tried to teach my kids, teach a little bit about banking, teach a little bit about fraud. And then I also emphasize to them that every one of the slides that we show them today are the same slides that I'm showing 50, 55, 60-year-old people, that the habits don't really change. The important thing is, can we really incorporate these habits into our lives at a younger age when it feels normal, right? We all know how hard it is to start a habit, but if you're somebody that grew up playing sports your whole life, it's a lot easier to keep going to the gym. But if you're somebody that never did that and all of a sudden you're trying to go to the gym when you're 30, there's going to be a discomfort. It's no different with your personal finances.
Barnstable County Sheriff's Deputies Adam King and Molly Baragwanath oversee the program day to day, helping the kids directly with any questions they may have.
A lot of these kids come in with goals in mind, whether it's to become more polite, be more respectful at home, school, in their community. I hope these kids get a ton of knowledge, not only just from us, the instructors and officers that are running the program, but we want them to learn what it's like to be a good citizen and a role model, in the community going forward.
The kids also got a visit from Nix, the Sheriff's Office comfort dog, during their public speaking sessions on the final day of the program, as well as a certificate of completion at the end of the day.
We really just worked on some team building, communication, and wanted to really show these children what it's like to potentially have a career in law enforcement. So we had a lot of fun with these kids, and we look forward to doing it again in April.
10 to 14-year-olds who are interested in public safety careers or just want to learn teamwork and leadership skills are welcome to apply to the next program during the April school vacation. You may email youthprograms@bsheriff.net to learn more.
Hi, I'm Captain Mike Downwell with the Hyannis Fire Department, and we're here to talk to you today about some winter safety tips and some common emergencies that we see during the winter months. Common factors that lead to these types of emergency are heating equipment misuse and failure, proximity of combustible materials, improper appliance use, electrical overload, unmaintained chimneys, improper disposal of ashes, icy road and walkway conditions, improper footwear, as well as restrictions from bulky clothing. Having core safety habits will help you prevent some of these risks that we see. Ways to do this first starts with having working smoke detectors and CO detectors in your home. Every home is required to have them, and they have shown that they save lives. Ensure they have working batteries and that they are operating within their dates. Most smoke detectors and CO detectors expire every 7 to 10 years. It is a good idea to check your smoke detectors on a monthly basis. Develop a plan for your family. Have 2 ways out for an evacuation plan. If an emergency does occur, make sure you're all meeting at the same location in the front of the house. Clear those vents. Ensure chimneys and exterior vents are free from snow and ice blockages. Again, preventing CO creeping into your home. Practice good, safe distancing. Keep all flammable items at least 3 feet away from your heaters and your fireplaces. If using a candle, keep candles at least 12 inches away from everything flammable. Consider using battery-operated or flameless candles. Those space heaters can help a lot, but make sure that you turn those space heaters off when you leave a room or go to bed, and always plug them directly into the wall outlet. Never use an extension cord. If you are using a wood stove, a pellet stove, or a coal stove, remember, take your ashes, put them in a metal bucket, dispose of them far enough away from any part of your home or dry leaves. As we stated earlier, we see an increase in falls during the winter months. Some good advice to reduce those chances of fall starts with having good footwear. Wear shoes with non-slip soles and good tread. Ice can be difficult to see, even on those sunny days. Keep your hands free. Avoid carrying too many and heavy bags to maintain your balance. Clear those walkways. Keep your driveways, sidewalks salted and shoveled at all times. Clear those gutters and walkways of leaves before the winter freeze, as this can increase the chance of slipping and falling. If you're going to warm up your car, make sure you do it away from windows and doors, as well as make sure you're outside the garage. And remember, no ice is considered safe ice. And to help us out, as well as you, when big snowfall comes, remember to clear your fire hydrants. Keep a 3-foot radius around every fire hydrant. Your local fire department is always a call away to assist. But if you need us in an emergency, call 911. Thank you and have a safe winter.
We opened 19 years ago. It started out as just a bakery, and then we transformed it into also doing breakfast and lunch, and we also do wholesale, wedding cakes, birthday cakes, all kinds of stuff. Everything here is made from scratch. I've always wanted to own a bakery. When I was 15, I told my mom, I remember I was in the kitchen making Valentine cookies, and my mom and I were having some fun, and I looked over at her and I said, one day I'm gonna own my own bakery. And from then on, it's just been like tunnel vision. So some of the things here are like staples. We never stop making the blueberry scones, the French donuts, chocolate chip cookies, and of course blueberry and coffee cake muffins. I want to say that it kind of evolved on its own by the way that what customers were asking us for. And like as far as brownies and bars and things like that go, we like to rotate through the seasons. And we will always have like some of your traditional ones, like the regular fudge brownies, chocolate peanut butter bars, magic squares. Those are the ones that people can pretty much guarantee they're going to be able to get when they come in. And then the drinks it's a seasonal thing. And we also will go through and look out on social media and see what's trending and what's happening. And then we try to take our own twist on it so that we're not directly just making the same thing as everybody else. We're getting into a time where everybody's becoming a little bit more conscious of the ingredients that are going into their food. And we've always been very conscientious about that. Like, I don't use any high fructose corn syrup in the building. Like, we don't even sell drinks that have high fructose corn syrup. We use unbleached, unbromated flour. We use Domino sugar, real butter, real eggs. So the product that you're getting is made from, ingredients that are not the ones that you would see lower down on an ingredient label on the side of a box. So I do know that brings people in. We wouldn't be able to survive without the community here. In the wintertime, it's definitely more of like a personal, social event, if you will, when people come in every day. In the summertime, we don't see a lot of our regulars, to the point where if we see one of our regulars come through in the summer, we're like, what are you doing here, you know? How did you get here, you know? It's a totally different vibe in the off season, and I enjoy the community that it definitely brings and creates, because we're such a small population here in the off season that you really do start to get to know your neighbors and your customers, and you develop these relationships with them, and it becomes like a family. You know, we have at times like called some of our customers to make sure that they are okay. And they're like, oh no, I'm sorry, I was on vacation. I'm like, you gotta tell us when you go on vacation for 2 weeks. We haven't seen you. It's definitely a roller coaster. There's no money being made in the winter. It's all about cash flow and maintenance and making sure that you're ready for the next big season so that you can produce enough and be financially successful enough to carry you over in the off season. It's all about budgeting, and if you can't foresee like a huge snowfall or something horrible happens in the world and everybody is devastated. Like, you don't know what's coming from day to day, but you kind of have to focus on your passion, and you have to try your best to stay driven, and sometimes it's okay to like slow down. Be easy on yourself and just kind of be okay with how it is here. So we have to take the good with the bad in that way. When the community comes back out again in the off season, and that's where passion is. That's where the emotions are. That's the drive. That's what feeds you. It's not, the summer will feed you like monetarily. The off season will feed you with the community and the love, and that's what keeps you going. You know, we're not becoming millionaires by owning small businesses. Anybody that owns a small business, it's because it's what they love to do. But we wouldn't have anything without the community for the locals and the regulars throughout the year. Those are the ones that keep you going.
For those who have driven past this location since the early 2000s, it may be difficult to believe that this was once a vast expanse of cranberry bogs. What we're seeing now is the result of a couple of decades worth of planning and eventual execution of a massive ecological restoration project that the Harwich Conservation Trust took on since purchasing these erstwhile bogs from the Kroll family back in 2001.
We created this eco-restoration outcome where we have restored water quality with Cold Brook flowing freely for the first time in over a century. We have thriving wildlife habitats, and we have a beautiful new trail system, including a half-mile wheelchair-accessible loop.
Named for the late founder and president of the Harwich Conservation Trust, the accessible trail has already proven to be a huge draw for the property. It's almost perfectly flat and easy to move across, and it's level with the several bridges that have been built over Cold Brook, giving its visitors plenty to look at.
The views are just extraordinary. When they come into the parking lot, whether it's a short-term visit to just take a lunch break, or whether they have more time on their hands and they want to take a longer loop, they can embark on this half-mile all-persons trail, a wheelchair-accessible loop. We're hearing from folks that might have had joint replacements or maybe some arthritis, and they want a stable surface to walk on. Families with youngsters and strollers are also enjoying it.
In that regard, the trail has earned itself the title of Ideal Lunch Break Hike for locals. And for those who may want to venture beyond the half-mile loop trail, there are options.
Here on this corner is where the two paths converge, and the trail goes from being wheelchair accessible to something a little more rugged. But if we continue moving forward in this direction, we'll come across the 100-foot bridge where we can take in some more views.
In our travels, we can see that the property is made up of 4 interconnected ponds. The first 3 are fresh water, and from the 100-foot bridge, we can see the 4th pond, which is a brackish mix of fresh and salt water. This eventually leads out to the edge of the property on Hoyt Road and continues on to Saquatucket Harbor. One other element that may stand out to first-time visitors to the property is the sheer volume of birdhouses that dot the landscape, and there's a good reason for it.
There has been an enormous increase in wildlife and avian activity. The avian count is somewhere around 162 species that have been documented on this site since we started keeping account at the end of construction.
In its visual simplicity and natural beauty, the Cold Brook Preserve may be a helpful reminder for Cape residents, particularly those who have called it home for the past few decades, that there are still places on this special East Coast peninsula known as Cape Cod that are off limits for development.
My mom and dad raised my brother and I on the Cape. And so growing up on the Cape, especially in the 80s, I saw a lot of changes. I saw a lot of the wild places that I would turn to and explore. I saw them disappear. So it made an impact on me, and I'm so grateful to be able to work with the community and our project partners on efforts to restore and renew wild places like this.
But while all of this scenery is easy on the eyes, the truth is getting to this stage was no easy feat. As a reminder to visitors as to just how much work was involved in its creation, they've set up these information stations explaining the how and why of it all.
Part of what we hope people can understand is the complexity of this project and the complexity of the work that turned it from a cranberry bog into what they are seeing.
Cape Media Center, building community through media.
From this little stretch of Route 28 in Chatham, we get a glimpse of a portion of Riders Cove in all of its picturesque New England postcard glory. Chances are the eyes of the drivers passing by in either direction are trained toward this side of the road and not toward this side, where the sign for the Robert Verity Clem Trail hangs just slightly over the snow-covered guardrail. But while the sights on the Cove side are something to behold regardless of the season, the trail on this side offers up a treasure trove of visual splendors in its own right. For starters, the water from the Cove becomes what is known as Frostfish Creek. Running parallel to it is a nice flat walking path, which stretches out for just over a mile on a round-trip excursion.
I've probably said it a million times, so today we'll make it 1,000,001. Something I really enjoy about taking a trail that has a river or a creek that runs alongside it is the built-in compass effect. And by that I mean, if it's on my right on the way in, it will be on my left on the way out. Sort of a foolproof method against getting lost. Another nice feature about this is that it has 2 points of entry just behind me coming in off of Route 28 and on the opposite end of the trail coming off of Meadowbrook.
One other nice anti-getting lost feature is the sign at the trailhead with the big red "You Are Here" arrow on it. We drop by the Route 28 entrance of the 50-acre property during the 3rd week of February on a beautiful, warm, and sunny day, which in the winter of 2026 felt like winning the lottery. The Chatham Conservation Foundation takes great pride in maintaining their trails, but they were especially nice on this day because the actual ground was under my feet for most of my trek, without having to step through inches of snow. It should go without saying that the scenery here is breathtaking, albeit in a sort of state of suspended animation due to the winter freeze. Even the check pattern water towers over by the Chatham Municipal Airport were a pretty cool sight to take in from out here in the woods. To get an idea of how things looked coming in from the Meadowbrook Road entrance, we parked at the Monomoy Middle School. 1 week and one major snowstorm later, the landscape was a little bit different. Visitors will notice right away that the lead into the trail has a lot more up and down features to it than its counterpart on the other end. With the snowy and icy conditions, this is something to take into consideration, so choosing the proper footwear is essential. There's also storm damage to look out for. This side features a checkpoint to pass through with a reminder of the trail cameras in use. They're pretty helpful in capturing the activity of the wildlife that tends to play hide and seek with us during our visits. Although we did get a glimpse of a great blue heron flying overhead at the entry to the trail. It was pretty neat. It's been said that time spent in the woods can not only help boost the immune system and lower blood pressure, but can also serve as a sort of mental health checkup. Whatever reason a person may be venturing out onto this trail, there's certainly plenty of peace and quiet to go around. There was, of course, plenty of destruction from the winter storm that blew through only days before this visit. It even left a major roadblock somewhere around the halfway point. So as an alternative, there's always the high trail, and at the outset, it proves itself to be more than just a clever name. The ascents and descents of this trail are geared toward a more experienced audience. They could prove a little too challenging for our aging four-legged friends. Regardless of whether one is taking the hilly high trail or the more straightforward and flat lower one, the serenity offered up by the natural beauty of the Frostfish Creek Trail makes it a little easier to forget the challenges of the winter of '26. Come springtime, the scenery here will completely change. We may actually even see the woodpecker who made these holes. But no matter what season one decides to head out into these woods, it's certainly a worthwhile lunch break hike. Or for those feeling a bit adventurous, a little something more. A layer of winter frost covers the old 1951 Buick Special sedan sitting outside of the restaurant, which for decades was known by locals as the Route 28 Diner. And while the interior and its countless decorations have remained largely untouched and unchanged, there has been one noticeable change: the name.
Route 28 Diner had lived and been amazing for so long and had its peaks and had its flows, and it was time for a new name for the diner. So Mac Daddy's Diner had to be born that way.
As for the choice of name, there was actually a little more to it than just giving the place a new moniker.
Our partner Sean's last name is Mackenzie. My wife's middle name is Mackenzie. And so there was the Mac, and then obviously they needed a daddy, and that had to be me, so that's where that came from.
Aside from the name change, patrons may have also taken notice of the symbiotic relationship between the head chef and his top server at this little Yarmouth roadside diner. Turns out that several years ago, they realized they worked so well together, they might as well spend the rest of their lives together.
My wife and I have the best working relationship because we work off of each other's professionalisms when it comes to this business. She's the best in the business. She is. What I do is just the food, and I just cook it and I put it on the plate, but none of it happens without my wife's front of the house skills and her managerial skills and her technical skills and everything, seriously everything. If it wasn't for her, there would be no Mac Daddy's Diner, or it wouldn't be run very well, I can tell you that.
For Jill Toomey, who's worked with everything from high-end fine dining to standard American fare, her goal, no matter what she's serving or who she's serving, has always been to make the customers feel welcome and want to keep coming back.
I want them to experience the warmth and the comfort of, like, if they went to somebody in their family's house and they got greeted for breakfast or lunch in their family's house. I want that experience. I want people to leave happy, full, and laughing, and maybe making new friends in the process of it.
And judging by the turnout on a chilly February Thursday morning, the formula seems to be working.
Here's a little fun fact. John and Jill Toomey didn't open their doors here until November 11th of 2025, so they still haven't had a chance to enjoy a Cape Cod summer at their restaurant yet. But with nearly 50 years of combined service between them, they know that once they get through this winter, there's something good waiting for them on the other side.
The only expectations that I've really ever had was driving by here. I never really came here during the summertime. I do know that there is a wait out the door. They are on a minimum of an hour wait, and for breakfast, that's a really long wait to have. But I'm ready to go. Let's do it. It's either not being busy at all or being extremely busy, and I'd rather be extremely busy than not busy at all.
Getting to the summer will require some sound financial planning and execution. So far, Jill and John have been able to stay on or near budget by doing all the heavy lifting themselves without bringing in too much outside help.
Keeping food costs down, keeping labor costs down, keeping all those things down in the winter months is essential, and it has to be done right. If you do it right, you can maneuver it, you can get by. You're not going to make the money you make in the summer and the spring, and you understand that, but as a year-round establishment for us, it's not about just summer and the spring for us, it's about every month, and every month is a good month for us. Every month is a new month. Every month is another opportunity to do better than we did the last month.
Hey, I'm Kayla. I was an intern at Cape Media Center back in 2019, and that experience totally launched my career in media.
And I'm Destiny. I was right there with Kayla in 2019, learning everything from camera work to editing and loving every second of it.
The staff here at Cape Media Center were always hands-on and always willing to answer our questions, especially with our final project.
We created a series of videos called the Blue Economy Project, where we dove deeper into how the ocean plays a vital role in Cape Cod's economy.
The series was well approved, and we couldn't have done it without the Cape Media Center.
Fast forward to now, I'm working in live music production and have even worked at venues such as Gillette Stadium and Fenway Park.
And I actually came full circle. I'm back at the Cape Media Center, this time on staff.
Cape Media Center gave us the tools, the confidence, and the real-world experience to chase our creative goals.
It's more than just a media center, it's a launch pad for your future.
Start your story at Cape Media Center in Dennisport.
Cape Media Center,
your voice,
your vision, your community.